I'm finding that people that I'm working with haven't had interview practice for many, many years. Some people have been in the same role for 10, 15, 20 years. Now, that's not to say they were in exactly the same role. They might have gone for some internal interviews, but generally speaking, interview practice isn't something that everyone's doing all the time. So it's natural to think that there can be a sense of nervousness around that. So one of my tips for trying to break through that nervousness is firstly be prepared. If you are incredibly prepared, you're going to feel more confident, and the more confident you are, that will then help to break through and to overcome those nerves. The other tip is to use some breathing exercises. So I recommend this at any time, but certainly when you arrive at that interview, to be able to stop, to be able to take 5 deep breaths in. So count to 5 as you're breathing in, hold that breath for 5, and then exhale for 5. And to do that quietly and calmly, counting your breath, and to do that between 3 to 5 times, it will put you in the moment, it will give you more clarity of thought, and it will help to ease and calm those nerves. And then that's where all that great preparation can then jump into play, and it'll really set you up for success in your interviews. So when we're getting prepared for our interviews, it's really important that we prepare as much as we can. So I often refer back to the original job advertisement. Now, that job ad will talk about the company, it'll talk about the role, it'll talk about the person that they're looking for in the role. You'll know by this stage, hopefully, who the company is. The research of the company, hopping onto their webpage, looking at their annual reports. Then through your networks, finding out who do you know that works there, or who knows somebody who works in that organisation. So you need to put on your investigative journalism hat and to go in there and find out as much as you possibly can in preparation for that interview. Because not only do you want to be able to put your best foot forward when it comes to yourself and the experiences that you have that are going to relate well to the organisation and relate well to the challenges. So what are the challenges that they're facing? What are those burning platforms? What could be the reasoning behind the restructures or the new role that you're applying for? So that's all the information that will help you to position yourself really well for that particular interview. It also shows and demonstrates that you put in some hard work, and that's really important. And it will give you the opportunity to ask some really great, well-informed questions. We don't want to hear questions like, well, when do the applications close, or how many more interview processes will there be, etc. To be able to think about asking questions that are based on the research. So that could be, I noticed from your website that you've gone through some recent mergers and acquisitions. Is this something that will also be on the horizon for the future? Perhaps you could tell me a little bit about how, the vision of the organisation moving forward. That'll give people the understanding that you've spent that time researching where that business is at. It also means that you can position your value to that business. So once you ask questions and they respond, gives you the chance yet again to reposition the value that you can bring and the assistance that you'll be able to play in helping at whatever that situation might be, what the challenges might be that they're facing. So that would be, I think, in terms of that preparation, one of the biggest tips, and that's going to really set you up for success. So the most important thing in your preparation for the interview is to have great examples with your star and par examples for your interview, so that if you're asked questions, that you're not just giving just a very simple answer, you're being concise with your answer, but it also talks about some demonstrated experience that you've got in that area. Because that's what we want to see. We want to see that you've done this before, or that you've had some examples of where things have gone well, or where things might not have gone so well, but what have you learnt from that? So again, thinking about the situation, the task, the actions that you put into place, and the results and the outcomes that you've had, and the learnings as well that you've had from the experiences in the past. And that will really help you to be able to answer those questions confidently. Also, listen very carefully to what the questions are that are being asked to you, and don't hesitate to clarify a point. When I talk about being concise with your answer, it's better to be concise than to go on for 10 minutes about a particular answer. You're using up great valuable time that could be spent in answering other questions and putting your best foot forward. So be concise, but then you can always ask the question, was that sufficient information for you? Would you like me to expand on anything further? So it's better to do that than to take a whole lot of time out of that interview answering one question. So that'd probably be my main tips to help you in that interview process.